Hello everybody and thanks for joining us. My name's Rich Stanton, work in the NFCC comms team, and today we're joined by Roy Wilshire. Roy, thanks for joining us today. So Roy, you're here in West Midlands Fire Service Headquarters today for a National Fire Chiefs Council Steering Group meeting. Can you just tell us, to start with, just a little bit around what the steering group is, how it's structured and what it's there to do?
Of course, and I think I'll start by just letting people know why we're in the West Midlands Fire and Rescue Service. We're here because through our new arrangements, West Midlands Fire and Rescue Service supply those support services to us, so communications like this today, finance, those sorts of things. So we very much have our meetings here. So we're grateful for that. Of course, the steering group, as per the operating principles, is where myself, the vice chairs and the chairs of the committees meet really to coordinate the work that's going on. It's not a board, it's not a decision making process, but it really looks into each of those committees, find out what's going on, what the priorities are, and more importantly where the crossovers are, so we don't duplicate too much, we don't do things that might upset a different plan, and we move forward in a coordinated manner and make sure that we're presenting the right thing to the full council, which comes at the end of January.
Okay, and how many committees are made up within the steering group then, and what are those committees?
Yeah, well, there are there's a test for me. What are the committees of my? So there's 9 committees. So we have the very much the sort of service delivery end, so operations, protection and prevention. The people who do the service delivery, which is in terms of workforce. We have, something that's always really important is finance. We also have a health committee, which very much links across into EMR and those sorts of things. And we have a couple of others to do with sector. So sector resources, which looks at things like inspectorate and professional standards. Sector improvement. Sector resources is things like communications, IT, those sorts of areas. And the final one is international, which people might think is a bit strange for National Fire Chiefs Council, but if you look at the services across Europe, across internationally, and the links, what we can provide in terms of knowledge to them and what we can learn from international services, that's why we have an international committee.
Okay, so we know that you've come straight from the steering group meeting today. What sort of things have been discussed there this morning?
Well, very much, we have to remember National Fire Chiefs Council is still only 9 months old. We're still in transition from CFOA. We've also had all the reaction to Grenfell and the work with Grenfell, which has sometimes slowed that transition. But this was very much about talking about the future, about strategy, finance, sustainability. In the past, the steering group has very much looked at papers that might go to committee, and I felt that was perhaps taking up too much time, where those discussions will happen at council. This is very much about how we work together, how we link into the strategy. Of course, our National Fire Chiefs Council strategy was launched back in October. How we look at sustainability for the future and how we prioritise our plans for next year.
Okay, and so what are, as the chair of the National Fire Chiefs Council, what are your priorities then for the forthcoming year? What should people, expect to see coming out from yourselves?
Well, very much we start with the strategy. So the strategy has 5 commitments in it. One's risk, which is the service delivery end. Another's workforce, how that's delivered. Third one is finance, how we are sustainable as a fire and rescue service, not just NFCC in the future. Also governance, and governance might sound a bit strange, but we know there's so many different types of governance for fire and rescue service, how we provide professional advice to whether it's county services, whether it's mayors, whether it's PCCs, whether it's governments as in Scotland or assemblies as in Wales, how we deal with all those different types of governance, providing that professional advice. It's not about what governance is best, it's how we provide professional advice. So that's our starting point in the strategy. Then each of the committees has lots of business as usual work. There's so much going on across the committees, with so many enthusiastic people, it's great. But what we're trying to get out of that and make sure we prioritise is the major thing. So obviously for protection and business safety, it's going to be the aftermath of Grenfell. For workforce, we're looking at apprenticeships and leadership framework. For operations, we're looking at business continuity planning and response to terrorism, those sorts of things. Within sector improvement, it's the new inspectorate regime and a new standards body to come up. So to make sure we are in there influencing each of those, and as we go forward into the council at the end of the year, we have a prioritised plan with a look forward to how we become sustainable financially for the future, to make sure we are doing what we want to do best, and that's provide an excellent service to the communities right across the country, right across the United Kingdom, and that's why we're here.
Roy, that's great. I mean, from my perspective, great to have you in the studio with us today. I'm sure for those that will be tuning in and watching this, it'd be really useful for them to have an appreciation of what the council is currently working on and what the steering group is doing. So hopefully look forward to having you back with us again in the future to provide further updates.
Thanks very much. Just hope this is the first of many.
Cheers, Roy. Thank you.